Hello, everyone. Welcome to Highway of the Hidden. I'm your host, Polar Bear. So, in tonight's episode, we're going to be discussing a good old Texas legend, Bowden Road. Texas is full of ghost stories and legends and things like that. And I think I'm going to cover quite a bit of them. And we're going to start it off with Bowden Road. Bowden Road, aka Demon's Road, is located in Huntsville, Texas. And it basically leads you to the Martha's Chapel Cemetery. And at that cemetery, there's a marker that gives a history of Bowden Road. But locals will even warn you not to go down that road at night because if they do, they usually try to avoid it at all costs because there's several creepy creatures that actually we're going to get into some well-known legends, and let's jump right into it. So Robinson Settlement became a stronghold for Methodist activity in southeast Texas in the early 80s. By 1839, a campground, church, and school were established here on land given by William and Elizabeth Robinson to the Reverend Littleton Flowers, superintendent of Methodists in the Republic of Texas. Early clergy who visited and served here included Isaac Strickland, Jesse Ord, Joseph P. Sneed, Bishop Thomas A. Morse. The Fourth Texas Methodist Conference met here in 1843 with Bishop James O. Andrew presiding. The church in the area became known as Martha's Chapel in 1854 after Martha Palmer, the wife of a church trustee, died and was buried behind the church building. During the pastorate of the Reverend James G. Johnson from 1812 to 1887, it was also referred to as Johnson's Chapel. At his death, Johnson bequeathed funds to complete the construction of the third and last place of worship at its site. It was dedicated on October 18, 1887 by Bishop W. B. Duncan. Although the congregation disbanded in the 90s, ending a century of Methodists in this area, Martha's Chapel Cemetery remains as a reminder of the area's pioneer heritage there and how it got started and all that. And it's actually quite a well-known place. They say there's occult activity, several hauntings. I've heard stories of people being chased through the graveyard by like 1940ish style trucks full of men, and they can only go as far as the road, and they quit chasing them. There's so many legends that come out of that road. And I actually browsed for a while to pinpoint the best and most well-known ones. And here are some of them I'm going to share with you that I've actually found. So basically, in 2001, a man from Houston got his buddy to ride with him to Bowden Road. They parked by the graveyard, and the man gets out while noticing that his friend seems to be asleep in the passenger seat. The man begins walking through the cemetery and notices part of the ground moving by a grave he's standing close to. A hand reaches up from the ground and grabs the man. His friends show up. They stomp the hand back into the ground. They run back to the car, only to find his friend is still asleep in the passenger seat. The man jumps in the car and discovers about a mile down the road that his friend is dead and he had had a heart attack while on Demon Road headed to the cemetery. That's some pretty creepy stuff right there. I'm not even going to lie. Imagine you're just riding along with your buddy and then you come up to this haunted cemetery and out of nowhere a hand tries to grab you and he's been dead the whole time. Pretty wild, right? Okay, this is the boy on the tricycle. So this is the one that a lot of people see. Not as much as the red lights, so we'll get into, but this one's actually pretty creepy in itself. So there's a boy that rides down the road on his tricycle. Some have said to see a smoky figure with glowing eyes coming toward them, but then disappears into the fog. Other stories claim that the boy can sense a great wrong you have done. He will turn and stare at you with his red eyes and gaze into your soul. He then follows you home and suffocates you and pulls your spirit into hell. How they know the last part, I don't know. But once again, it's just a legend that people have told for a long time out there. And then there's like almost the cryptid side. So there's a lot of cryptids known in the Sam Houston National Forest. And I actually plan on going there to do a few Bigfoot investigations myself. Coming up pretty quick, actually. I think I'm going to try to go and see if I can find something, maybe some footprints, maybe some wood knocks, who knows, some calls. I would love to find something and then call, and I'll let y'all know what I find. So this one is the Faceless Monster. The cool thing about this monster is that it can't follow you for very long, right? It can only go as far as Demon's Road. But reports have said that when people see this monster, and we'll get into the legend about it, but when people see this monster, they drive off, the monster chases them, but once they get home, they find huge handprints along their car. Like, it grabbed the car, but it couldn't stop them, kind of deal, and that in itself is pretty freaking scary. So it's called the Faceless Monster. So the Faceless Monster will stalk you while driving along Demon's Road. The creature will hover beside you along the tree line, but will leave you alone for the most part. However, if you call out to it, it will charge at you, and some people have claimed, once again, to have found huge handprints on their car once they return home. But the good news is the spirit won't attach to you, as it is believed to only be able to stay on Demon's Road. So I guess you're kind of safe in that aspect, right? It's only can only go as far as the road. And then the red lights. So the legend goes that if you travel down the road between midnight and 4 a.m., you could come across a series of red lights. These are harmless unless you look directly at the light. Then they will become aggravated and charge you and cause temporary amnesia of the moment the light hits you. So they say Demon's Road or Bowden Road is arguably the most haunted road in Texas. Not only are there accounts of multiple ghosts and otherworldly apparitions, but there are numerous stories associated with each of these entities. Even locals say they won't drive down Demon's Road after dark unless the matter of life or death. So, do you plan on visiting Bowden's Road or the Martha's Chapel Cemetery? I don't know if I would, because I mean that's quite a bit of entities to encounter right there, on top of the cryptids and everything else that you could end up being in. Plus, with the occult and stuff, that's kind of scary in its own, right? Like people sitting in circles and stuff like that. It is a college town, and there's also the prisons there in Huntsville. So there's a lot of like history and stuff in Huntsville itself. And so if you want to check it out, be my guest. And if you have anything, let me know. Reach out to me. I'd love to have you on. But I know this is a little short, but that's it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to be on the show, shoot me an email. My email address is polarbear, HOTH@gmail.com, or go to TikTok and Instagram, polarbear, HOTH, or, reach out to the Facebook page, Highway the Hidden. We'd love to have you on and interview you. And if you need a place to just escape and let you know that you're not alone out there, hit us up. Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a great night.